Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to the Intuitive Creators Spotlight. Here we interview amazing people with incredible stories who chose to transform their lives, and now they are helping transform the world around them. I am Stella, your host, and if you're new to this series, take a moment to subscribe to our channel, watch this episode, like this video, and let us know your thoughts. So today I have as a guest the incredible BB Feenix. She is an alt pop artist, singer-songwriter, a motivational speaker, and she's also the creator of the quantum music. Hi, BB. So happy to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Oh, I cannot wait for you to share part of your story because I'm not saying all of your story because we could be here for ages and all of it is so fascinating, but I cannot wait for you to share with us what you have experienced, part of your process of creation and part of your beautiful transformation too. So can you share with us what inspired you to move from singer-songwriter to creating quantum music?
For me, it comes from everything I've gone through in my journey. So I have fled domestic violence. I've lost both of my parents to cancer, had another toxic relationship after that, and currently going through my daughter going through a chronic illness. And through that, it led me to learning about frequencies and healing. And it led me down a healing journey for myself to be able to cope with everything I was going through, but to also still be a functioning, present single parent. And that led me into expressing myself through my music. And then through expressing myself through my music and the healing work, I discovered that frequencies have a different effect on our bodies, visceral effects, so a physical effect on our bodies, without going too deep into it because we're all made of energy. And the frequencies of the music, I decided to create a new spiritual modern day music. So infusing binaural frequencies within mainstream music gives me quantum music. So yeah, I founded a new genre and wanted to share the joy with the world and bring something new to the world.
Wow, quantum music, just the title, just the name of this type of experience sounds absolutely fascinating. So, what can this do for the listener? Like, how
So
can this influence the listener?
yeah, this gives the listener a more a deeper experience, a more visceral experience. So not only do you hear the music, you hear and feel the emotion, you also get this feeling that you have through your body. So when you're listening with your headphones, it pans from side to side. So you get this movement of feeling with also the frequency. If you're listening to it on a speaker, it transforms and goes through your body. So the first song that I created called Rise was with a frequency of 741 hertz. And now this is a heart healing frequency. So you feel this song in your heart. So not only do you have the feeling of emotion and hearing the music and the journey it takes you on, you also get this added extra element of feeling. And then so for me, I'm experimenting with one for every chakra. So I'm doing a heart one. I'm next going to the root chakra, and I will do an EP of all of the chakras. But it basically gives you an extra added feeling on top of music that already brings something. So it's going to be a whole new experience for people.
Did you use that to heal yourself?
I haven't used my own songs to heal myself, but because of everything that I've learned and the way I've raised my own frequency through the healing, through doing the inner work, through not ignoring my emotions and feelings, and through that, that also translates into the song. So I'm also coding the song with my own frequencies, with my own joy, with my own messages and the words, and even just the words. They're lessons that I've in my life that I've turned into the lyrics. So it's everything is just like a whole new experience to be shared. But for me, yes, I listen back to the songs and I get these different feelings. And so I hope that the feelings that it invokes within me, it will also invoke in others, but also that they have their own experience with it.
That's so beautiful. I know you've been through a lot, baby. I know you've experienced a lot, and we talked about this just before we recorded the interview on how these traumas or these really not so good experiences can go from one generation to the next, and then you chose to deal with this and heal it in this lifetime. How did you manage to keep your beautiful energy and spirit during these moments of going through trauma and difficulties?
It's taken me going through the traumas and difficulties one by one to build up this resilience, to build
Mm.
up this understanding and knowledge of myself, of what I'm able to cope with. And also then the smaller experiences in life, the things that normally stress people out on the day to day, those sort of things don't really have the meaning that they once did for me because of everything that I've gone through and survived and come out on top. And because it's something that I used to avoid, I used to then internalize these feelings and emotions a lot. And I ended up with PTSD. But having, released that from my body, I understand. They've dived into neurology, biology, quantum physics, understanding the science behind the spirituality. And because I have learned so much, it's something that I want to and need to share. But being such a creative person, it's not just a conversation I want to have. I share it through my music, I share it through my photography, I share it through my social media and everything that I'm doing with that. And it's just, I've learned to step into myself wholly, fully, and accepting the sides that I used to find as a weakness, such as wearing my heart on my sleeve. I used to think that that was a weakness and it was used against me in a lot of things, but it's now my strength, because sharing in such a vulnerable way, in such a strong, passionate way, and not such an emotional way, it encourages and shows other people that, as my motto says, where you stand is not where you need to stay. I believe that we can change our lives every day up until the day that we die, but we feel so stuck in our circumstances that we don't feel able to change.
Oh, absolutely. I actually saw a quote somewhere, don't remember where, but it said like if COVID was able to upgrade itself to a new version, so can human beings do. And so it's I mean I know this is off tangent, but yeah, the thing is everything can be transformed and regenerated. And if we put the intention, if we create this intention that I can do this, I can improve my life, I don't need to copy paste my past into my present and then into my future repeatedly, because as we do that without thinking logically about it, we're just continuing to copy paste that into future generations. And I often say that I really want to be one of those ancestors that did my very best to heal as much as possible in this lifetime. And I think this is freeing as well for your soul. So for you, BeeBee, you're a very, very creative soul, and it's clear that you're sharing this in so many different ways with the world. Have you always expressed yourself through all of these different ways, or was there something in your life that made you realize, hey, actually, it's time for me to start expressing myself in these creative, beautiful ways?
The thing that happened to me was the going through domestic violence. That was the thing that really woke me up. As they people call the awakening. For me, that's what drew me to the reality that I realised I was living was no longer the life that I had desired or chose, and I felt suddenly really stuck in this situation. But then going through that and then coming through the other side, I realized that change is possible and that you don't need to stay where you are, and that you don't it's so easy to feel stuck in that situation. But it's I wanted the thing that came to me when you were speaking just now is the way that we end up feeling stuck is because our thoughts, our beliefs are thoughts that we keep thinking. And because we are creatures of unconscious habit, 10% of us are conscious through the frontal lobes, and the rest of it is our unconscious body. 90% of us is functioning on autopilot. And that is what keeps repeating the generations, because we become creatures of habit from what we were taught from our parents and what they were taught from their parents. And if we don't question it, and if we just take it as fact and as truth, then we're just going to repeat those things over and over. And because I had this stark awakening and reality of that this is not what I'd wanted for myself in my life, it took me on a path of discovering that there is other ways of doing things. There are other ways to get past these issues and to help yourself and to grow as a person. And it's just taken me from strength to strength to the point of having this conversation with you right now.
Oh, and I'm so grateful you're here. I really, really am grateful. So when you say share your song, one of your songs with someone, and you're watching their reaction, what do you feel?
For me, it comes down to the connection with that person. And that's part of my, I was saying, to help, my mission is to reach and raise the vibration of humanity one heart at a time. Because, I used to want to do it all in one go, reach everyone. And I want to reach at least 1 billion hearts, because let's face it, with the internet, 1 million these days is
Yeah.
quite a small figure in comparison. But because for me to reach that 1 billion hearts, I have to do it on a person by person basis. And when I started performing live, I was also in a rock cover band for 4 years. But it taught me the presence of being in front of someone, and the way you can convey energy, emotion. You can have an exchange with a person, and for me, that's what it's all about: is the energetic exchange, that lifting the joy, lifting the vibration. But for me, when I say I want to share the joy, and if I was to give myself a hashtag, that's what it would be: hashtag share the joy.
Oh, and the world needs so much of that, the love and the joy. And I think it's not a coincidence that during these years, decades, there are so many spiritual beings. I mean, everything is part of spirituality, but I mean, a lot of people who bring spirituality into everybody's awareness. I think it's so important because we are all part of the same thing. And so we are so much more connected than we ever, like, we can understand with our human brain. And
Mm.
I love that you said you're trying to reach one heart at a time. It just reminded me of an experiment that I've seen with the sound, how they were showing, like, if you have a body of water and you put the sound, it will just create different patterns
It's
in the
called
water.
cymatics.
And
Mm,
it's so, so fascinating. It just
mm.
shows what kind of power the sound has. And we are, I think, how much? 90% water in our bodies. So our body listens to that and absorbs all of these sounds. And that's why, when all of the other experiments with the plants, when you talk to a plant and you say beautiful words and you share a sound that's nice, then the plant will beautifully grow, as we are connected with plants and everything around us. So can you tell us, baby, what is your process of creating a song or any kind of sound? Do you have to kind of spend time with yourself? Does it just come to you? Do you channel it? Do you receive inspiration from somewhere? I would love for you to share us if you want to.
Yes, I have so many different ways of achieving and starting a song. It can start from a feeling or an emotion that I have. It can start from hearing just some music, and then I can hear like a melody, and then I can start getting words to that melody. So I find there's so many ways to approach a song. I've constantly got my phone in my hand, and I've got over 10 pages of scrolling of notes of ideas of words when I'm reading a book, if I'm listening to something and I think that idea, oh my gosh, that phrase is amazing, I'll take it down. And I'm always bursting with ideas. And for me, it's being able to get them all into a song, because I've got more ideas than ever I would be able to create songs in me. So for me, it's just like an open-ended sort of passage into sharing. For me, I think that's part of the gift that I was given, in that I am able to translate things into music, into words, and being able to express that. But it took me a long while to be able to connect the emotion into singing it, because I used to be so shut off from my own emotions. So for me, it's something that I had to learn to understand, to connect with myself rather than being so blocked. And I think that for me is what opened up being able to create the songs. And so I get inspiration from anywhere and everywhere. I often channel spirit in song. So if I'm having a conversation with someone and they'll say something, I'll often get a little song that pops in that's very relevant to the conversation we're having. So it's kind of almost like it's just within my DNA to have music in me. And I've always wanted to share it, but it's only really now that I've found my true voice that I found a way to be able to start that process and to be able to create that. But I also work, I co-create with other people. I've done and do my own song and producing and music and lyrics, but I also find co-creating with other people sparks other ideas within you as well. So, I may have a starting point and they'll say, but what about this, or from this angle? And it's just, I love the co-creation of music.
Because we all come with unique gifts, and it's like
Mm.
I often like to imagine this as like a big, big table, and we all come with our gifts, and it's like sharing with each other, and it's such a beautiful feeling. And I love how you explained your process of creation for music and songs and the lyrics that you put in. And one element that I absolutely love, love, love that you shared about putting the emotion into
Mm.
your creation, because this makes such a big difference, doesn't it? When you, like, if you hear the same song just technically correct, but without emotion. And then the other
Mm.
version of it, where the person fully puts their heart into that, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And I am grateful, so grateful to absolutely everyone who does that, because that's how you allow for your spirit, for your own energy to be
Mm.
shared through your creation. Um, can you remember a moment of someone saying to you, like, how your work impacted them, maybe through songs or photography or anything else that you do, and maybe that reaction really stayed with you? And what was
Yeah, for me, it's the fact that through openly expressing myself authentically, for me, what I tend to hear back is that the words of people usually give me the word of inspirational, but I think is what it is it allows the other person to be authentic themselves and to express themselves, you know, even just in a conversation or through listening to my song. And for me, people being able to authentically express themselves through something that I've done just for myself, it opens, it gives, it's being, giving other people permission to be themselves. And then that for me is the hugest compliment I can get through my music.
Mm. And do you have certain places in the world that you feel called to? Maybe you want to travel there to get inspired or to create music in some places, or maybe you've been somewhere that really inspired you. And if yes, what are those places? Or it doesn't really matter because you just connect with the
There's
universe.
yeah, there are so many places that I want to travel, and I will be traveling the globe eventually. But there's one place that's always got my name on it, is Sydney Opera House. I just know I'm going to be performing there one day. Don't know why, but it's just got a calling for me. It's got my name on it.
Wow, I love that. When you'll be there, you'll come back to this interview, watch it on replay, and say, "Oh, okay."
Well,
I
this is the moment I manifested it.
Yeah, because talking about that, I know you are a fantastic manifester. What are some of the incredible things that you've manifested in your life, and how did you manage to do that?
Oh, I've manifested some corkers. I've manifested winning a game show of £21,000. I've manifested many things in that I've actually managed to achieve crossing the English Channel. That is something that I something I had on my to-do list in my life, like singing in Sydney Opera House. But also the fact that I am living the dream now that I've always wanted to. You know, as a child, I always dreamt of being a singer. But actually had an issue that when I was 4 years old as a ballet dancer, played a game of hide and seek and missed my performance, which gave me a fear of stages for many years. So the fact that I am actually a performer, and last year became an international performer on a stage in Sweden, and that was only manifested 2 weeks beforehand in a business that I joined last year in high ticket affiliate marketing. I went to an event and asked the person who created it if I could perform on stage, and 2 hours before he said yes. And I had the songs ready to go, and you know, so I'm very good at manifesting things very quickly on the spot, but also at the same time, the deeper and bigger things, they take time to manifest. You have to sow the seeds, water them, and let go of them and let them grow rather than keep checking. You know, that's the thing I do, is I'm very good at just planting what it is that I would like and then letting go and moving on, and then they just sort of kind of find their way to me.
Mm. And with the things that you decide you want to have, do you find that it just comes like one at a time for you, or do you see loads of different options, or connect, or just feel into lots of different options, and then you choose the ones that resonate with you the most? How does it work?
I think you need to be the key is also being unattached to the outcome, because if you
Yeah.
want one specific thing in a specific way, what you're then doing is blocking the universe from delivering you all the different ways, millions of different ways that it could then come to you. So then you're making it harder for it to receive. So you have to desire these things, but also not be attached to them, because it's being free, allowing, it's the law of attraction, you know, what you give you receive. So if you're pushing hard against something, it's pushing it away. Whereas if you're in a space of openness and allowing and receivership, then it comes to you when it's the right time for you. So it's not being attached to outcome, I think, is quite a key part to it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you have to be able to tune into what you want, but then detach at the same time. And it's
Mm,
always a balance, isn't it?
yeah.
So I know that with absolutely everything that you do, you connect with a lot of people, you share your joy through so many different ways. Would you say that you prefer to help people one-to-one? And I know that you try to reach one heart at a time, but does this mean you prefer to work with people one-to-one or to perform in a place with like a lot of people?
Both.
Both.
So you know, it's wonderful when you work with someone one on one, because you can see the effects. And you know, I'm also a certified quantum breath instructor, quantum flow instructor, so connecting one on one with people is great. But also, to reach the 1 billion hearts, I know I need those bigger stages, which is where the motivational speaking and the singing comes in play, because that then opens up, you know, my reach further. So for me, it's both at the same time. It's that one-on-one connection, but it's also being able to connect with that wider audience.
So, to everyone who's watching us, if they think, okay, BeeBee, I just love your energy. I just think there is something for us to kind of collaborate on. What would be the ways in which you could collaborate with people, and how can you help them, or what kind of collaborations you're open to at the moment?
Yeah, well, I'm a human transformation specialist, and I help conscious creative females, or anybody really, but my niche is helping conscious creative females to create the life that they are looking for. So I connect with people through my music. If people want to write, you know, co-create a song together, I'm open for those possibilities. But I also work in a business where I'm also able to help people transform their lives, creating financial freedom, creating, you know, a life of freedom, location freedom. And so being able to help people to start this journey that I have done for myself, that is ultimately really what I'm here for, to help people start that journey for themselves, or if they're already on that journey and finding themselves blocked, to be able to help them open up ideas and spaces for themselves to grow to the next step as well.
And that's how we contribute to the continuous creation of this universe, because we
Yeah.
continue collaborate with each other. Tell us about your family or friends. How do they perceive what you do? Are they supportive, or your family in particular? Have they always been supportive, or they had to kind of have the patience?
Yeah, well, as it happens, I have no family around me. I have my children. I've lost my mum and my dad. I've had to step away from a lot of negative family and my aunts and my uncles. Unfortunately, when my nan died, a lot of things happened. And over the years, I've had to learn to let go of the people that were harming me more than they were helping me, with negative talk and trying to hold me back in lots of ways. And just generally, I wasn't that supported. So this has sort of also pushed me on to do it for myself. But my friends, and as we spoke about before we came on here, you know, connections that we've made globally online, for me, have been stronger and deeper of the last few years than I have sort of made in acquaintances, some over a lifetime. You know, so for me, it's just putting the right people around me, and they're the ones that are helping and supporting me. That's what the connections are all about for me, and that's the support that I've needed to keep me going, really.
Mm. And to those who are creators themselves, maybe they create music or other paintings. I'm just seeing the painting and it just came to me.
Mm.
And like many other different things that are very creative, but they feel like they don't receive the support from around them because you've been through that in a way. What kind of advice can you give to these people?
The advice I would give to people in that case would be to really think, what is more important to you? Is it your message through your art, or through your words, or through your music? Or is it the you know, worrying about pleasing these other people? Or is it, you know, what is more important to you ultimately? Is it keeping them happy, or is it your inner happiness and your inner peace? and showing up in the world as you're meant to. So for me, it's just supporting them to understand that, you know, for me, I feel like, you know, many times I've wanted someone to help me and save me. There's no knight in shining armor, but I've been able to save myself and help myself. And it feels like a daunting task, but actually I find it a lot easier to be on this side of it than trying to people please and be in a world that you're not happy in.
Mm, so true, so true. And then the more you stand in your power, in your truth, the more other people understand that they can comment all day long, like they will not change that and they should not. We are not here to change, to fix other
Mm.
people. We are here to share as much love as we can through like everything that we can create for the world and for ourselves. And this is always a beautiful process because also you never know what will come through, because even when you create something, you may start from just a tiny line on a piece of paper, and then you don't know what is going
Mm.
to be at the end. And that's the beauty of it. So when you go to places and you find yourself, you know, among a lot of people, can you sometimes see sounds for different people, or can you kind of, if you look at somebody, can you pick up on a sound that's particular for them? I'm asking this because sometimes when I have conversations with people, I might get an impression of their energy as I work a lot intuitively, or I might just receive some sort of information about who they are. Do you see sounds when you connect with
No,
people?
I don't see sounds, but I do connect with them energetically. And I do tend to get, like you probably do, it's about being tuned into your intuition, into your gut. I do get a feeling, I do get a sense of someone who's instantly a connection, that, you know, musically or something like that. But I don't necessarily hear that in terms of a sound, but you know, I do get the downloads in terms of music. So I might get a relevant song for them or something like
Oh,
that. But
okay.
it's usually to do that I think that's the way I connect energetically with spirit, really. Or
Wow.
myself or my intuition.
Yeah, I love that because how you said you want to reach one heart at a time. So that means you channel that information, that sound, and then whoever will resonate with that, they will
We pick
find
up the same
you.
frequency and
Yes.
find the match
Oh,
together.
that's really beautiful. And if you were to talk about or to think about your daily routine, how the practices that you do for yourself, is there something that is absolutely non-negotiable and you know this has to be in your life in order to bring the grounding, the peace, the balance for yourself?
For me, it either comes down to breath work or meditation because, you know, as I sort of mentioned at the beginning, I'm also going through quite a hard time with my daughter in hospital. And to be able to stay grounded and connected to myself and be present, I often do either some breath work, maybe just some connecting breathing to connect my heart and my mind so that I'm not all in my mind, to bring me back into my body, or to do a meditation to, again, it's to allow the mind to disrupt. So say if you've got a negative pattern or spiral going on, for me to be able to let go of that, and instead of getting caught up in the moment in the negativity, to bring my self back to center, it's meditation or breath work. It's something that is a non-negotiable.
I love that. And you know, sometimes we can take, I'm talking about myself in the past, can take this for granted because air is everywhere and you just breathe in, out, and you don't really like think. But then once you start understanding how important oxygen is, and then taking a moment to connect with yourself, bring yourself in the present moment, it's just really life-changing once you
Yeah.
embrace these things. And thank you so
Mm.
much for sharing this with us. So for those who want to kind of start introducing this beautiful healing in their life, the sound healing, the breath work, like all of these beautiful things that you mentioned today, where can they start from? What can be the first tiny step that they can start to do now, like after watching this video?
Well, to give them a tip right now, something to connect to yourself. Most of us shallow breathe. 75% people breathe, you know, on a daily basis without really realizing. Just to take one full deep breath in through the mouth or the nose. So usually through the nose, expanding the belly fully, and then taking the breath out fully, allowing the navel to come back into the spine. just to connect with a full deep breath will remind our nervous system that we're not in fight or flight, that we're not in panic mode, and that we can relax. So just the act of deep, full breath breathing is something that they can connect with straight away. But just to even breathe in for the count of 4 and out for the count of 4, that will start bringing coherence back into the body and into the nervous system. So just to connect with the breath is something that most people don't even realize they're not doing properly on a day-to-day basis. So that would just help you in itself.
Thank you so much for that. And my last question before we wrap up this episode, because it just comes to me and clearly it's important. Why human transformation is important from your perspective?
Again, it comes back to my motto: where you stand is not where you need to stay. People feel stuck in their circumstances. People feel that they don't know how to get away from financial issues, from maybe a partner they're not happy with, or their job, or they feel stuck in their circumstances. But just to be able to understand that, again, we can choose every minute of every day to change those circumstances just by starting to change our thoughts, changing our beliefs, start doing the work instead of breathing, instead of being caught up in this mind prison of our own. The thoughts that we trap ourselves in. We have 60,000-80,000 thoughts a day, repeating them from generations ago, keeping ourselves stuck. To be able to start interrupting those patterns and letting that go, human transformation is actually quite an easy thing to do when you come back to the basics, but we've overcomplicated it in our over stressful lives these days, with everything so instant, multitasking, not even multitasking with 1 or 2 things. People are doing 3, 4 things a go to try and keep everything going, and actually just to slow down and stop, connect with yourself, and actually things start coming a lot easier for you. So that's why human transformation is important for me and for everybody.
Thank you so much, BB. I am super grateful for your presence here today, and I'm grateful to everyone who's watching us. Please take a moment, let us know your thoughts, connect with BB, check out the description of this video, and don't forget, subscribe to our channel. Take care, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.